Anybody know what this is? Phone. Hold on. Who said camera? All right, it's a phone, it's a camera. What else is it?
Computer.
Who said it? Anybody else? What else is this? One more.
Charger. What? A charger.
Okay, this is also a light source. It's a flashlight built in. So if you're doing a selfie or taking a picture of a product, like you're going to sell it on eBay and you're using your phone, you might as well turn the flashlight on and add some light to it. Anybody know what this is? There you go. Earbuds. I got him, Chris. Camo or blue? Okay. This is also what we call a cable release in photography. I don't know if anybody realizes this, but you can plug this in and you can take a picture with the volume button. So it's called hands-free selfie. You can place this down and you could get in the shot and you don't have your arms sticking out when you're trying to take a selfie. Okay? Really cool little thing that you may or may not know about your smartphone. This is one of the samples of the kind of things we teach at Polaroid-University. We just launched in December. We'll have 25 episodes this year, ranging from underwater, drones, real estate photography, how to sell products on eBay or Craigslist, how to photograph your kids at a soccer game. The topics will vary up to 100 categories, and then they will range out into more advanced versions of each category. So hopefully within a couple of years, we'll have 400 or 500 episodes. Our memberships cost $19.95 a year. They're unlimited access, and you can be standing outside of a concert hall and you want to know how to take better pictures when you get inside, and watch it while you're standing online on your phone. You can watch it on your tablet or your home computer. We also teach how to do better when it comes to the video aspect of the phone, because as someone pointed out earlier, this is a video camera as well. I don't know if you realize this, but when you're at a concert and you're trying to film a song, the audio part is always a banging bass sound. Put a piece of toilet tissue over the front of it, diffuse it, and the bass levels out completely. It works really well, so I encourage you to try that. The same as if you have two smartphones and you're trying to do a selfie and you have one on the flashlight, you add some light to it. Now, if the light's really harsh or it's too bright on the subject, anybody want to take a guess what you would do to that to soften it up? Tissue paper. Someone gets another set of earbuds. So, I don't know, people are probably pretty aware, but in order to focus a smartphone, you press it on the spot that you want to focus, okay? You can also change the lighting and the exposure on your smartphone, very similar to a camera. And it's funny, I've heard a lot of people over the course of the last 2 days tell me that I like taking pictures on a real camera, not my phone. I had somebody tell me that I don't talk on my camera, why would I take pictures with my phone? Those people are still looking for their pagers and cell phones the size of a brick, all right? The future is here. I'm a professional photographer. I get paid to take pictures with equipment that comes from a booth right over here, but I promise you, within the next maybe year or two, you're going to see more and more pros using smartphones because the quality is up at a level that's almost comparable. I'll give you an example. There were cameras that came out at 12 megapixels only a couple of years ago, and that's what these phones are doing now. They're 4K. They have slow-mo, and they have burst mode, so you have a motor drive on your phone now.
And you're going to break out the cameras.
And you can put a lens attachment. One of the things I was going to tell you is this lens here, okay, is the exact same thing as this piece of glass that's this thin and this round. The quality and the zoom length and even the aperture for this will be the same as that, and a lot sooner than anybody thinks. Citizen journalism is taking over around the world. I even saw something on Shark Tank last week with the drone phone. It's a small drone where you slide the phone into it. The drone itself only costs $100 because all the gyros, all the software, all the camera deals, everything that's expensive about a drone is in your phone. And it goes through the phone software. So it's actually more stable and more smooth when it's flying. So, this is the future. And, I'm waiting for that day because I shoot professional sports. You'll see on this screen and that big screen back there, you'll see some of my pictures will appear. You'll see quite a few pictures from Super Bowls and NBA Finals. I carry a 400 millimeter lens around that weighs almost 30 pounds. I used to be 6 foot tall, and it's just worn me down. I got a nice dent right here from carrying a big monopod. The day these can make me the same money as those do, I'll be switching over that day. And that day's coming really soon. So again, there's a little burst here that you see. If you hold down, okay, you see the yellow sun there, you can actually make it darker or lighter. So it's almost like changing the aperture on a regular camera. So if you can control the aperture and the shutter speed, and you can add professional lenses to it, and it stores information close to or the same as DSLRs do, then why would you want to carry all the rest of that around? I also had someone come to me this morning and show me some of these new mounts, all right? You see I have this phone cover to my phone. This mounts to anything, your car, whatever. So your phone is now a GoPro, okay? Put an underwater housing on it, you shoot pictures underwater, just like some of the action cameras out there. It stays on solid, and you just turn it and pull it away, all right? Same with something like this. You mount it here, it mounts to any railing or anything like, like a fence post or handlebars on a bike, something like that. For example, when we shoot NBA basketball games, we mount cameras in the ceiling. We mount them on the backboard. We mount them on the post. And we fire them remotely. So all it would take would be software to mount this camera in a soccer goal at your kid's soccer game, and while you're sitting on the bench and your kid's scoring a goal, you can take a picture remotely. So these have the ability and the technology now to make people money as professional photographers. So that's what we're teaching at Polaroid-University. We're teaching people how to take pictures with their phones like professionals. And as technology advances, whether it's 3D or 4D or 5D or whatever comes out moving forward, that's the kind of stuff we're gonna be teaching. So I have Miss Marilyn Monroe here today. Yeah, give her a big round of applause. Yeah. And I'm going to show you a few samples of how to use your smartphone to take better pictures. For example, your LinkedIn pages, your Facebook profile pictures. Those things say so much about you on the first try. If you don't know to have the sun in front of you instead of behind you, or the light in your kitchen in front of you instead of behind you, you'll backlight your photo, you'll be looking at silhouetted pictures or less than professional pictures, and you're putting yourself out there, your resume's there, but your picture is horrible. So what I'm going to show you now is a little bit of a headshot portrait. There you go. So I'm going to ask Marilyn to lower your chin a little bit, because the worst thing you want to do is shoot up somebody's nose, okay? You always want to keep their chin down. The worst thing in the world is 2 black holes in the middle of somebody's face. And you always want to come up a little high, too. Now, if you look at Miss Monroe here, this is a classic form of what we call butterfly lighting, okay? It was actually created and found from a photographer who was photographing Miss Marilyn Monroe, okay? And you see there's a little loop of butterfly underneath the nose. That's where the shadow is, all right? You ever look at the painting of the Mona Lisa? It's called Rembrandt lighting, because Rembrandt lit with one light to the side, and it created a triangle right around one of the eyes, called Rembrandt lighting. So there's different kinds of lighting out there, but the most important thing is that the lighting comes from in front of you. Unless, of course, you want to shoot a silhouette like what's on the screen now. If you want to shoot something like that, the sun should be directly behind your subject, and it'll work out just fine for you. So I'm going to ask her to lower the chin a little, Tilt a little bit to your right. There you go. And boom, take a picture. All right? I'm not making this picture horizontal because it's got all this dead space on the left and the right. I'm looking at a headshot is vertical. All right? And that's where you want to be. If I had 3 people lined up, it'd be a horizontal picture. So when it comes to composition, always look for what's best with vertical or horizontal. And when in doubt, shoot both because it's just digital space. It's not like we're shooting film or such. A selfie stick works very nicely, but if it was me, I would do the hands-free selfie because there's nothing worse than having your arm cut off in the picture. You never want to cut off body parts, especially at the wrist, the elbow, the ankle, the knee. I know that when I used to do that in a sports photograph, my editors would tell me that their mother would see that picture and go, "Oh my God, my son, just lost his arm or something." So you always want to try to get into a situation where your hand's free. Yeah, and you're also limited to the length of your arm. With the hands-free selfie, you're limited to the length of your cord, but at least you can get in here like this and shoot pictures that way. Okay? And this will fire your camera. So selfie sticks are cool, and it's probably one of the bigger in things to do, but I'm also a proponent of getting a small tripod or a gorilla mount, some kind of clamp, like Polaroid has them, and so does several other accessory makers. Mounting it, use the time release. You can mount, this gentleman sitting right next to the Polaroid cube right there that's filming this episode. That could clamp onto anything. You clamp it, and you could mount it to the phone, similar to the way I said. Set it on a 12-second look, set your person up front, and get in the picture without this going on. Since you're sitting next to that, you got a pair of earbuds. All right? So another thing is when you're focusing, and I mentioned to you that in order to focus your camera, you touch it. Always, when you're shooting a person, touch the eye. Because you could be in a situation where even the nose to the eye could be that much out of focus. And when you try to blow that picture up, you're like, why is it fuzzy? It was the middle of the day, it was bright sunlight. It's because you picked the wrong focusing spot. When you're photographing people, always go for the eye. Now, I'm not saying you can't come in really tight and crop off the top of the head or something to get creative, but always focus on the eye. I mean, I don't know anybody who wants a really nice picture where their ears are sharp and their nose or their eyes aren't. And that's the funny thing. Your ears and your eyes, 2 inches apart, could change your depth of field and your sharp zone. So always focus on the eye of the person. Again, always keep in mind when you're going to go vertical, when you're going to go horizontal. Here's a nice example of vertical. Okay? Let's see. Oh, can you do that for me? And again, when you're out and maybe you're doing your Christmas card photo and you're doing a portrait of a family, 4 or 5 people, you always want to spread it out into a horizontal so you don't have all that dead space at the top and at the bottom. And you always want to put your subjects on a different horizontal and vertical plane. And what I mean like that is all the heads shouldn't be at the same level. One here, one over here, never on the same vertical or horizontal plane. Because if you have someone like a kid right here on the same vertical plane, it just doesn't give the same aesthetic. So you move them over a little bit. And so you never form everybody in the same vertical or horizontal plane. So again, here's a perfect example of a vertical frame. All right? And so let me have you sit back down again. So here's a good example. Let me lower the chin again, where you get in real close. Okay? It's okay to crop the head off or whatever. But also, make sure you're not tilted out. You want to keep the subject and the camera, your smartphone, on the same plane, parallel, because that's how you create distortion. And it works vertical or horizontal. So you always want to keep your camera level. Another good thing to know about is most smartphones have a level app to them that built right in. So if you're setting up a camera on a tripod, always make sure that the horizon is straight, especially if you're in front of an ocean. Because if the water line is off, it looks like all the water is going to spill off the right side of the frame onto the floor. And that's the last thing you want to see. The HDR feature is fantastic. This is one of the things we teach in our episodes. It takes the highlights and the shadows, and it merges them together into a third plane that makes the picture a little bit more vibrant, a lot more professional, and a little bit more like an Ansel Adams type photo where everything is razor sharp and in focus. HDR is a great function. Another great function of the iPhone is the pano sequence. Everybody's heard about panoramics. We teach that here as well, and I tell you what, I'll do one now because it's really important. There's two things you always want to know when you're in your pano mode. Number one, I personally, the iPhone only goes left to right. The Android goes either way. I always pan from left to right. It's just a better feel. It's more natural. It's how we turn pages. I think it enables you to keep steadier. So when you're doing a pano, you find a line. Like if you see here, that line is off on the top of the curtain there. There it's off. You always want to kind of set it up so that you have the horizon line right there, so you know how to track all the way across. There's nothing worse than pano down to the left to the right. All right, you want to keep as steady as you can. You want to keep turning as steady as you can. And I'm getting wrapped up in my own cord. And the most important thing is finish. See how the arrow's not to the end yet? You want to get it all the way over until it stops. Because if you start to go down like this right before the end, it starts looking really cool, and you want to just stop right there. If you stop, it's going to ruin it, and you're going to do it again. So one of the other really cool functions, so there you go. There's a solid panel. And if you look, these lines here should be almost equal and parallel. I'm a little off here, and you can see it there, and I'm a little off here, but it still looks, pretty strong. There's nothing worse than a horizon line off. You have a question? Now, our episodes are, and we have samples of them around the corner here. We have 6 episodes that we're showing now. They range from about 7 minutes to 10 minutes, and they have a question and answer period at the end. It's a classroom environment at the end, but it's all shot on location in exotic places. We shoot a lot in the Florida Keys, which is where I live. We shoot a lot at Club Meds around the world, and we do a lot of episodes in the studio as well. But they're about 10 minutes long, and we not only teach you about photography and lighting, but cool techniques like this pano sequence that you may be able to see on this screen behind me. All right, this picture here. Tell you what, this is what I'll do for just a second. You can sit down too and be comfortable. Can everybody see that picture back there? That's one photo. That is one picture taken with the new iPhone. And the way it's done is, I'm going to unplug this for a second because I can't really show you an example on the screen. So have a seat. And so what you do is you start with your subject standing right here. Okay? So here's Chris. So you start there. And you start to pan, and you stop here. And Chris runs around behind me and stands right here. Then you pan to here, and when you stop moving, it takes another picture. Come over this way a little bit more, Chris. There you go. So you get him, and then you stop moving, and he goes around again. And then you go to here. And by the time you finish it off, he's a lot slower than Steve. I'm just saying. By the time you finish it off, that's your result. So a really cool thing to try. Chris, see if you can find in my library the Legoland picture. A really cool thing to try is I take my kids to Legoland. And out in front of the giant Legoland sign, or Disney World sign, or SeaWorld sign, we do a pano sequence. Well, you could let the person who's there take your picture and pay $10 for it when you leave the park, or you could do something really cool that's, a unique technique that you can do just with your phone. And it's nothing they're ever going to be able to do for you. So, does anybody remember what's that sequence called? Pano. Good. want to keep you interested. So does anybody else have any other questions?
You keep saying iPhones. Does the same thing hold true for Android?
Yes, yes. We use several different types of smartphones in our lessons. We also teach drone photography, we add action cameras like GoPros and the Polaroid Cube, and as we get past our first 25 episodes, we'll get into HDSLRs, and we'll do more video, we'll do editing, how to edit on your phone, which apps to use to edit, and what's really important is how to store your pictures, how to keyword and metadata your photos, which is basically the title you put on. How many people dig and dig and dig? So here's the Legoland version. Really cool thing to take home, and a really cool place to do it. If you're at the Grand Canyon, make sure they run behind you, okay? Real important. Grand Canyon, behind. Important safety step there. So we'll be teaching episodes on all forms of photography eventually. We'll be teaching lighting, we'll be teaching some fun stuff. There'll be some behind-the-scenes episodes, but really important is how you store and what you do with your photos afterwards. How you can print them, how you can put them on great substrates like you see in some of the technologies here at CES. So we'll be teaching all different kinds of lessons on photography, but the software, the apps, what you do with your photos. Everybody's got pictures on their computer that are 00694. You know, they have numbers or letters to them. Try finding that photo. The best thing to do is to put the date down as the photo first. So if it's 2015, you would put 15, you would put 7 for the day, and you put 01 for January. That's your photo number. And then if there's more pictures from that collection, you would put -1 or 001 behind that. Or the name of it, if it's your son, David, like mine, you put David. And then if you have more than one picture of David, you put a 1 after that. Then if you go back to find that picture 10 years from now, first thing you do is put the date in. And if you only put the year in, at least all the year will come up. And it'll be a little easier to drill down and find those photos. So the better you stored your pictures, the better chance you have to actually do something with them later rather than search for them forever. Any other questions? You get headphones, earbuds. No? No? Question? Just ask me my name. Mark. There you go. So, any other questions?
What's your last name?
For shooting at night? Yeah, we have classes on how to shoot in concerts and low-light situations. We also talk about shooting at night in remote locations. Car headlights, great source of light. You know, if you're trying to do something, especially let's say you're out in front of a house that's lit by Christmas lights, and the only thing you can see is the Christmas lights and and your family standing in front, and they're silhouettes. Turn the car headlights on. You know, and if the color of the light is not what you want, anybody got to guess what to do with that picture to make it better?
Flash fill.
Fill flash? Yeah, you don't get earbuds. I'm just saying. Flash fill, yeah, but what about something you do after you've taken the picture and you don't like the color of the light? You could do that. I'm thinking more about turn it to black and white. You've got that on your phone. You've got the ability to actually Photoshop your pictures on your phone. So why not turn it into black and white or sepia tone or what's the 1970? I think there's even a Polaroid thing on Instagram. Yeah, it's called 1977, but it's really a Polaroid look. All right? You can change the borders on it. You can do a bunch of different things to enhance that photo. But my favorite thing is just turn it black and white. If the color of the light is too yellow or too blue, you make it art and tell people you did it on purpose. They love that. So I'll show you one other thing. Polaroid University, as I said, is an online education service, so you can watch it anywhere at any time. You would go to our website, you would sign up for a membership, you'd create your own username and password, you can have access to it at any time. We also have a retail product coming out in March, so it's Polaroid University in a box. There's a membership card inside along with other discount cards from other either Polaroid licensees who offer you a discount for their products, or a printing service, maybe we'll be Shutterfly or Walmart or something like that we'll have in there. But we will have a physical product in a box that you'll be able to buy in retail stores. Anybody else? Sure. Well, Marilyn's been my subject for photography. That was a really good question. Okay, so thank you, everybody. Thanks for listening and for your time. Appreciate it. Excuse me? It's $19.95 for a year. But if you sign up before the end of the show, you get 2 years for the price of one. So you get 2 years for $19.95. You go to polaroid-university.com. Online, just do it right on your phone. No. You can do it here in the booth, but you got to be on your phone. Yeah, it'll send you an email and confirm it, and you can also give it to someone as a gift. Okay? Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Yeah, if you have any questions, come to the booth, and please feel free to come watch some of our episodes, especially the one on iPhone 6, because it's me. Thanks, guys.
This is a great idea.